Hello, welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to be exploiting our first vulnerability with Metasploit. We are going to scan Metasploitable to identify vulnerable services, select an appropriate exploit, configure options and payloads, and successfully gain access to the target system. This is hands-on exploitation, so let's dive in. Before you start, make sure both Kali Linux and Metasploitable 2 virtual machines are running on the same network. In case you don't know how to set that up, you can check the video where I explained that. You can see that at the top right corner right now. So I've already started my Kali Linux and my Metasploitable 2. If you come here, you can see my Kali Linux here. And if you come here, you can see my Metasploitable 2 here. So to log in, you're going to type msfadmin as the username and msfadmin as the password. Now you've been able to log in. And to check your IP address, you can run ifconfig. So if you look at ETH0 and you look at the inet address, you can see 192.168.112.3. And if you come inside Kali to check the same thing, ifconfig, you can see that we are having 0.4 and then the rest is the same as that of Metasploitable. This means that they are both on the same network because we have done that configuration settings. Once again, if you've not done that, you can check the video where I explained how to do that. Now, since we already know the IP address for Metasploitable, we can try to ping it to be sure that they are connected. And the moment we pinged it, we can see that they are connected. We are getting a successful response, so we can close this. And we can do the same from inside Metasploitable as well. So we can type ping 192.168.112 then .4, and you can see that we are getting a good response as well, so we can close this. Now the next thing we want to do is to scan with nmap from Metasploit, and to do that we are going to come inside our Kali and then launch our Metasploit. We can first clear our screen. To launch our Metasploit, we are going to type msf console, then we launch that. So you are going to wait for the Metasploit to load. Metasploit is almost done loading. Now it is done loading. And now that you can see the MSF6, the next thing we want to do is to check the DB status. So we can check the DB status and you can see PostgreSQL selected, no connection. That means that we have to connect our database first. And to do that, we can exit this and come here and run sudo msfdb, then init. And you're going to type in your password here. And now your database is being started. So after that, you can go back to MSF console. It's running again. And you can verify the database status again to know if it is connected. And now you can see that we are getting connected to MSF, connection type PostgreSQL. It is different from what we were getting earlier, where we are seeing that we do not have any connection here. The next thing we want to do now is to run our first scan. And to do that, we can run db_nmap, then -sv. Then you add the IP address to Metasploitable here. So that will be .112, then .3, and then you run the scan. So the SV flag tells nmap to detect service versions, and this is critical for finding exploitable software. So this can take like 30 to 60 seconds. And now you can see the output showing the discovered ports and services. You can see the port numbers here. You can see the port state. This is the service running on the port, and this is the version of the services running on the port. So you can scroll down to see all the services and their respective versions. And as a pen tester, one thing that might come to mind is how you can exploit any of the vulnerable application or any of the services that are running on outdated versions. So if you come here and you look at vsftpd, you can see that the version is 2.3.4. So this has a famous backdoor. You can do more research on that. Also, if you look at this port 139, which is running Samba SMBD version 3.x to version 4.x, this also has a remote code execution vulnerabilities. And if you look at port 667 here, which is having Unreal IRCD, this is another backdoor service. So to check what the Metasploit has stored in the database, you can run services, and you can see everything here well arranged. If you want to learn more about services, workspaces, hosts, and others on Metasploit, you can check the video where I explained that. So for this, you can see the host, the port number, the protocol, the name, the state of the port, and the information you need to know about the service running on the port. Also, to see the hosts, what you can do is to type hosts here, And you can see the host here. You can see that the address is 192.168.112.3. This is the MAC address. It is running an operating system. This is showing us the address to our Metasploitable. So the host command shows us the Metasploitable IP with its operating system detected as Linux. So what the database does is that it automatically stores all Nmap results. And this is why we initialized the database earlier in this lesson. Now let's choose a target and exploit. We are going to exploit the vsftpd version 2.3.4, which has a backdoor. So to do that, you can search for vsftpd and hit enter. And now you can see the search results. I'm seeing the one for auxiliary and I'm seeing another one for exploit. So I'm more interested in this. So I'm going to come here and copy this exploit because that is the module I need. Also, if you check the description, you can see that it is having backdoor command execution. And the rank is showing excellent, which means that it is highly reliable and it won't crash the system. So after I've copied that, the next thing I want to do is to use my use command. Then I'll hit enter. And now you can see that my prompt has changed because it has added the exploit. And this indicates that we are now inside the vsftpd backdoor exploit module. So to learn more about the module, you can type info and it's going to give you information about it. Can you see? So you can read the information here. And the info includes the description, the author, the references to CV and advisories, available targets, and required options. You can see all of that here. You can see the payload information, the description here. And you can see that the description explains the backdoor was maliciously added to vsftpd version 2.3.4 in 2011. Now, to see what options that need to be configured, we can type show options. Now you can see a table showing columns with name, current settings, required, and description. And the most important options are this. You can see the RHOSTS. This means the remote host, and that's the target IP. You can see that it is currently empty and the required is yes. If you look at the R port, this is as well important. It means remote port for FTP and it is currently set to 21. The required is yes. So the R host is what we must set because this tells Metasploit which system to attack. Some exploits have many options and you can see that this one is simple because it just needs the target IP. Now let's set the target. To set the target, we are going to use the command set. Then RHOSTS. Now we're going to add the IP address of our Metasploitable, which is 192.168.112.3. And you're going to run this. Now you can see that our RHOST is set. After that, you can run the command show options again. And now you can see that the current setting for RHOST is now carrying the Metasploitable IP address, which is our remote host. Also, our R port is still set to 21, which means that we are good to go. But before exploiting, we need to select a payload because the exploit gets us in and the payload is what we run afterward. To see compatible payloads for this exploit, what you can run is show payloads. You can see that we have just one payload that is compatible with this exploit. To see what we have done so far, we can type show options. And now you can see that we have our C host, we have C port, we have proxy, we have R host, we have R port. You can see that these are not required and these are required. And the ones that are required are already set up already. Now that we've seen that we have a single payload and we've shown the options to see what we've done so far, the next thing we want to do is to show targets because some exploits support multiple targets. So let's check. So you can run show targets. And now you can see that we are seeing 0, then automatic. That means that this exploit only has one target, which is automatic. And Metasploit will automatically detect and exploit vsftpd version 2.3.4. So we don't need to select any target manually. So next thing we want to type is just to type exploit. So the moment you can see this, that means success and that means our exploit worked. Also, if you take note of this, you can see a rectangular cursor here. Now you can just type whoami here. And now you can see that it is saying root. And this confirms that you now have root access to that system, which is the highest privilege level on Linux. If you type ID, now you can see that the user ID, which is UID, is 0, and it is only root that has UID to be 0. So from here, you can confirm the host name. And now you can see that it is Metasploitable, which means that you've been able to gain access to the Metasploitable system while you are still inside Kali. Also, if you run ls, and now you can see all the files in the root directory for Metasploitable. And if you check here, you can see that one of the directories we have here is root. So you can run cd root, and then inside that you can run ls. Inside root, we are having one folder and two files. So you can see that we are having desktop here, and we're having reset underscore logs.sh, and we're having vnc.log. Another thing you can do is you can view contents of a file. And to do that, let's view the content for passwd, which contains the list of our users. Now you can see all the user accounts that exist on Metasploitable system. This is why services running on ports on a system or on a network should not be outdated, because it can be exploited. Now let's understand the exploitation process. The vsftpd version 2.3.4 backdoor works like this. A malicious version of the vsftpd was distributed in 2011. So when someone logs in with a username containing colon and parenthesis character, what it does is that it triggers the backdoor, and the backdoor opens a shell on port 6200 with root privileges. So Metasploit automated this entire process for us. It connected FTP, sent the special username, detected the backdoor shell, and gave us access. This is the power of Metasploit, because it made a complex exploitation simple for us. Another thing we can do is to background this session. So to background this session, what we can type is background. Sorry, I didn't type it where I used F instead of D. So I will type background, and it's going to ask me whether I want to background this session. Then I'll type Y, and now the session is running in background. So to see active sessions, you can just type sessions, and then it's going to show you the active session. So this is the one that we just set to be running in the background. And if you want to enter that session back, what you can do is to run sessions, then you write -i, then the ID of the session, which is 2, then you run it, and now you are back into the session. And to exit the session, you can just type exit, and now the session is closed. You can see command shell session 2 closed here. So if you run sessions again, you can see that we are seeing no active sessions, which means that our session is closed. So that's all for this lesson. And before we go, here is a challenge question for you. And the question is, what's the difference between the exploit and the payload? I repeat, what is the difference between the exploit and the payload? So if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do that now. Also, do not forget to like, share, and comment. I'll be expecting the answer to the question I asked you in the comment section. Thank you so much, and see you in the next lesson.